And so I myself have come to gardening as an important source in my work. So the pieces that are represented here reflect that. The clothespin piece that I'm standing next to. It is a tool, it is a mundane object, but it also, for me, represented my mother and her ability to provide. She's standing in a bowl of beans, something that represents a kind of productivity, her ability to provide, but also represents her as kind of a god or goddess, because she's standing in the midst of this, in this bowl of beans, and she's looking regal. So I have used the clothespin often in my work to represent my mother. Now,
and how rich is Allentown with different culture. So that inspired me to looking for a dialect that will talk about this diversity in Allentown. And not only in Allentown, it became something that I need to find about myself, about my origin, where I'm coming from. And that's when I started to paint these African faces with Caribbean flowers.
I do two types of work, which is one works on paper, which are cut from a velour paper, and paintings like this. These small sort of abstracted shapes are flocked on with a velvety coating, and each of them sort of represent a sort of abstracted natural form, twigs and leaves and seeds and spores, things that you would sort of find in a brush that often get swept up in the wind and transplanted in other places.
I moved in the past maybe 12 years or so. The garden has been a really important part of this, how I source images and the kinds of forms that I'm using. So that's just been a kind of a subtext, a very, very, not even a subtext, something that just thematically been very, very poignant for me and important for what I'm doing. And so I'm looking at shapes, I'm looking at forms that recall how plants grow. I'm just thinking about the kind of muscularity of how a plant could push up through soil and produce a fruit, and something that just in it of itself, this kind of silent strength that comes out of something that's growing, and a kind of persistence of nature. So that's always there. And so it hasn't actually changed. That's underneath just about everything that I do.